Hello, and today is the first day of week 2 in our 21-day awareness challenge. So today's webcast is going to be about recognizing and understanding messages. So reading the universal roadmap through messages is essentially what we're going to go over today. So there are so many ways that the universe will confirm back to you what you need to know in order for you to move in the direction of your goals. So the most important thing that I can share with you is that the messages that are going to be significant are not the ones that you go looking for. You will know when they are meant for you. All you need to do is to just go along in your everyday life and just be aware of the world around you. So if you walk around expecting everything to be a message, you will see them everywhere, and it will be difficult for you to get a clear read on what your answers are. So I want you to think of it this way. Let's say you're thinking about buying a Toyota, or you'd like to buy one, or you do buy one. Anyways, I promise that you're going to see Toyotas everywhere after that. And it's not that they weren't there before. It's just that now you have them at top of mind. So you're driving around and everybody else is driving a Toyota, and it's almost like everything else, all of the other vehicles are invisible. So when you're interpreting messages that are coming up around you from the universe, there are many senses that your messages will come through, both through your physical senses and through your psychic senses. So you can hear, see, feel, know, and you can even smell your answers, both with your physical and your psychic senses. So which sense that you're going to use, that's really going to be based on your natural strengths and dispositions. Now, in actuality, there is no external force that is speaking to you. The direction that you receive externally is simply you utilizing the fabric of the universe to confirm back to yourself the direction that is in your highest good. So as you have the entire universe to reflect back to you, the ways that you'll receive your wisdom is completely unlimited. Therefore, I want you to keep in mind that this list is far from exhaustive. So no matter what sign or symbols you will notice, it will be married with this internal recognition. And that is essentially the most important factor about interpreting messages. It's that internal chord that gets struck within you. And then you acknowledge, you become aware that something rings true for you. So that's what I want you to look for, is your messages will appear in all shapes and sizes, numbers, images, symbols, animals, dreams, visions, in other people's words, in other people's actions, strokes of inner knowing or feelings within yourself, and so on. But what's most important, what's really significant, is when you have that experience or when you witness that, there's something within you that will awaken and go, yes, that was for me. It's almost like a sense of recognition or familiarity. So I'm going to give you some exercises to help you to develop that. So now it's important to use your best judgment around these messages to avoid becoming deluded. You know, when you want to see something bad enough, you can easily see what you want to see and you're going to hear what you want to hear, right? So most specifically, it's not that you don't care about achieving your goals. What I want you to do is just stay open and unattached to how, and then you focus on your goal, so the outcome. Right? Because if you really want something to be your solution, you're going to find evidence to support that. For example, let's say your new boyfriend, you want him to be the one, and you want confirmation that this is the guy, I can stop searching forever. Then you will find confirmation and read into things to support that perspective. And you might only see what you want to see. I know, I've been there. And you won't see the red flags. Now, this is how we get deluded and misled. We want a certain answer, so then we find evidence to support that answer, to prove ourselves right. See, that is the right guy for me, kind of thing. So the best way for you to have clarity and untainted direction is to become really attached or detached, pardon me, from the outcome. Let go of the how completely. The universe is extremely creative in finding the best route to your destination. Think Google Maps, right? So, well, although Google Maps might not always be giving you the best directions in any sense, you might not be able to see it from where you're at because you don't always have a bird's eye view on your situation, whereas the universe does. So it can offer you a higher perspective and maybe a route that you didn't think of, or you might not even see as being an easier road for you. So how you develop your capacity to recognize and interpret messages from the world around you is something that I'm going to give you a couple of exercises to do. So exercise number 1. So here's step 1, and I'll actually write this out and pop it in so you have it. So start by asking the universe to show you how it communicates with you. So we're going to start with a baseline here. Number 2, then I want you to set your intention and state, and here's an example, show me 3 things today to confirm my preferred method of communication. And then I want you to notice how you feel when you see, feel, or hear, or even smell different messages. Remember, there should be an inner knowing or a recognition that comes with that. And then if you want, you can use muscle testing to help you confirm your findings. And I have a tutorial for that to support you if you want to try that out. So now what I would suggest is you will probably want to do this exercise a few times so that you get a better feel for it. So just to give you the quick rundown, so step 1, set your intention. Universe, show me how you communicate with me. Show me what type. Do I hear things? Do I see things? Do I sense things? Do I smell things? And then see what shows up for you. Now, to make it easier, then you're going to set your intention and state, show me 3 things today to confirm how I receive messages. Then you just sit back, go around your normal day and see what happens. And look not only for, don't look for the messages, but when you notice something, notice how you feel. And that's where you're going to develop that. Now, you're going to want to do this exercise a few times. Now, once you've established how you get your information, the second exercise is to get way more specific information. So then I want you to ask a specific question, something that you would like guidance on. So now then step 2 is you're going to go on your daily life, not actively searching for confirmation. I just want you to be open and observe the world around you. I want you to notice any repetition. And if you're unsure, ask the universe to show you again or in a different way that is more clear for you. Take note of the things that jump out or that are paired with the inner feelings or inner knowing that the inner outside message invokes within you. That is like the key. And then I want you to review the various forms and see whatever patterns or repetitions show up for you. And then you can even ask yourself, what does that message mean to you? Is that a yes or a no? I want you to keep track of this, if you want, in a journal or of sorts, and see what the theme is, right? Because repetition is really where you're going to get confirmation is, okay, I've seen this like 10 times today. So if you're not looking for it and it keeps showing up, well, then there's a pretty good indicator that there's a message for you. So now developing your capacity to recognize and interpret messages from your inner world is a different subject. So I want to touch on that a little bit. So one of my personal faves to connect with my inner wisdom is muzzle testing. This is essentially a lie detector test, but without the machine. It's not always 100% accurate, so it's something that you can use as a guide. Now, you can connect with your current inner truth, and you can also use it to clarify the universal or divine truth and how those might be different. So this is a whole other subject, so I'm not going to get into it, but let me give you the quick and dirty on what I mean by that. So, for example, I might have my own definition of what love is. And the divine energy might have a different definition of what love is. So if I'm muscle testing based on my wisdom, then I'll get my personal truth. But then if you ask for creator or the divine's perspective on a situation, then you'll get more of a global, maybe a universal or a higher perspective truth. So that's like a whole other video in itself, but I just wanted to put that out there, right? Because I want you to take your muscle testing and your messages all with a little bit of common sense and a grain of salt, knowing that you have your own personal truth and you're going to see things and interpret things in the way that you're going to want to on some level as well. So I just want you to be aware and mindful of that. So another way, and I love muscle testing because I'm a physical empath, but that's me. So another way that you can use that technique, but in a different way, is either using a pendulum or dowsing rods to get clarification. And again, like I said, just like anything else, you can make your body, you can make your rods, and you can make your pendulum swing whatever way you want. So it's really, really important for you to be unattached to the answer so that you can get the clearest message. So one of the most powerful ways that I've been able to enhance my listening skills is through practicing the 7-plane meditation through the Theta Healing technique. Now, if you want, you can try it out. I'll pop in the link for that guided meditation that I did, or if it or if it feels right for you, you can actually join me for my upcoming Theta Healing intro night coming up. So I'll pop in those details as well. So now that we've covered the external and the internal capacities or ways that you can receive guidance, I want you to dive into a bit different types of ways that you might receive your messages. So now some of the most common messengers, if you will, are numbers, symbols, images, words, or actions of others, as well as your own internal knowings and feelings. So I want you to know that there's a plethora of books and teachings on how to interpret different messages. There's dream books, there's angel books, there's symbol books, there's all sorts of different ones. And this is what I have to say about that is I would suggest that you use those guides, those books as a guide, if you will, because remember that your feelings and interpretations on what those images and symbols mean is way more significant than someone else's interpretation of them. So for example, it's quite common for a dog to represent faithfulness and protection. But maybe when you see a dog, you have a completely different perspective of what a dog means to you. So what you need to do is you need to go on your gut on this. So even though if a really popular person that wrote a book on interpreting animals for messages is like, yeah, this is what a dog means, and every ounce of your body is saying that is not what a dog represents to me, I've been bit 5 times and dogs are not my best friend. Well, then how you feel about it and what that message means is how you feel about it is more important than how someone else might interpret it. So what I'm saying here is that essentially your subconscious, the universe, creator, God, spirit, divine energy, or whatever word that you like to use to identify that intelligent consciousness that created the universe, how it speaks to you is it uses symbols and messages in a way that is meant for your personal interpretation, right? So I'll often get people ask me, Anik, I saw this. What do you think it means? And let me tell you what my answer always is what does it mean to you? You know, like, how does seeing that make you feel, first of all? So when you see that, how does it make you feel? And when you see that, or when you hear that, what does it mean to you personally? What does that speak to you? Because the truth is that your internal wisdom that you have on these messages will always trump any outside source. So remember that it's also a personal interpretation of what these things mean. So what they mean to you is way more important than what someone else thinks they might mean to you. So that being said, here are a couple of tools that I just wanted to speak to that I like. I like animal speak and nature speak. And I like, for numbers, I like Doreen Virtue's angel codes or angel numbers. Those are a couple of books and guides that I like to use. But, keep in mind that the Western, for example, the Western interpretation of numbers is extremely different than the Eastern view on them. So that's why it's always good to use your own wisdom and decide what it means for you. So also something to consider is to identify where your internal wisdom is coming from, because there's a really big difference between your instincts and your intuition. So I have actually a whole blog post that I did explaining the difference between your intuition and your instincts and why it's really important for you to know the difference. It's called Why Intuition Gets a Bad Rap. So I'll pop that in to the link here so you can see it as well, in case it's something that you want. Now, the last thing I want to note is simply this. So when you're developing your intuition and you're tapping into your inner wisdom and your inner knowing, just remember that spirit speaks softly, where ego is usually a loud voice paired with a sense of urgency. Be sure that you know which voice you're listening to, because any fear-based wisdom might not lead you to where you want to be, whereas spirit totally respects your free will. And if you want to take the bumpy road to your goals, it's going to be like, hey, girlfriend, whatever you want. So it's going to give you a gentle, here's an option, whereas the ego is going to go, no way, you got to do this. And it tends to be, I use the word urgency because a lot of the times people don't see or identify that as being fear-based. But those are essentially the two things. Is your intuition is based on your higher perspective, your higher knowing, and your instinct is based on your survival mechanism and also your fear-based thinking. They both have a place in your life, but what you want to do when you're reaching new heights, you're moving outside of your comfort zone, is you might want to listen to your higher wisdom and then be aware of what your ego is telling you or your instincts are telling you, but also know that sometimes they can be fear-based. So I love the conversations that we're having in our Dream Life Mastermind group on this. Keep posting. You guys are rocking it. I love what you're sharing. And I'm really excited to see what and how you guys make out with these two exercises and what types of messages you're going to be aware of or become aware of over the next week or so. So thanks for participating. We'll see you inside the group. Bye for now.